Welcome to the Village Boy Podcast. It's your host, Trez, and we're talking today about the war on women's sports. What have women done to Democrats to deserve this continuous war on women's sports? Somebody needs to be able to come and tell me what crime women did to Democrats that they insist on belittling women, destroying women's sports and women's only spaces. What crime did women commit specifically? Because if you look at this conversation, it only happens with women. It doesn't happen anywhere else, only with women. You don't see anybody pushing or fighting to compete with men. You don't see anybody pushing or fighting to compete with boys. You don't see anybody taking medals away from men or boys who do not identify or declare themselves as men or boys. Matter of fact, men actually cherish if you come compete with them. If women want to go play in a co-ed league, it's okay. Men cherish it. They're going to respect you. They're going to play safe. They're not going to be so physical with you. Everybody understands that women's sports is to be left alone. For women, why do Democrats insist on watering down women sports? In the Canadian national soccer team, there's a woman who declares herself as a man or non-binary, Quinn. I used to like her when she was, a woman, a defensive midfielder, amazing player. But she says she's a man. And you would think that if she declared herself a man, she would want to go play on the Canadian men's national team because now she's a man. And Canada is so progressive. And so she would be able to fit in the Canadian national team. But that was not the case. She declared that she was a man, but she wants to play with the women. The tournament is called the FIFA Women's Cup. And Queen is a man, or to the very least, she says she is non binary. She doesn't identify as a woman or a man. If you don't identify as a woman or a man, then you cannot play in a tournament that says women. You have to at least be a woman to play in a women's tournament, a tournament that specifically says FIFA Women's World Cup. I had raised these issues a long time ago when I said Queen should not be playing on this team if she's not a woman. But we all know she is a woman, but she doesn't identify, whatever that means, as such. Recently, a female fencer took a knee in protest because her opponent was a man who had just come off the male team. And he decided to declare himself a woman and join the female fencing team. And she's taking a stand, and they disqualified her. She was disqualified for taking a knee and saying, I don't want to have to fight against a man. I don't want to have to fence against a boy, a dude, a young man. I don't want to do this. It's I for no reason. I don't have to hate him. I want to fence against another woman. Can I have that? Can I have the choice to fence against another woman? What do women do wrong for Democrats to insist that this is the only way out? Let me share a report here. Let's go ahead and look at this report. Let's bring that report closer. All right, let's blow it up some more. Okay, so let's look at this report. Biological females have lost nearly 900 medals to trans athletes, a UN report. 900 medals that would have gone to women went to men. At, at some point, We have to be able to stop and ask Democrats, who are they really fighting for? Who are they really promoting and supporting this agenda for? There's no UN report for how many men, how many medals men have lost to trans women. There's no report like that because there's never going to be any medal lost by men to a woman. It's just never going to happen. Can a woman beat a man? Probably. In a competitive fight where you have to beat a whole lot of men to win the medal, it's probably going to be hard. But I'm sure it's probable. But is it ever going to be 900? No, it's never going to be 900. And this is no hate on any specific community. Nobody has to hate you to tell you the truth. You are not a woman. That is the truth. You are a trans woman. That is evident. Biological females have lost 900 medals. And if we continue at this rate, it will be 1,000 medals. This is one medal too many that a woman would have won. And these people are blowing up records that women will never be able to. Even if they stop today, the records that some of these people have set, women are never going to meet. To make this fair, they have to invalidate those records and take the first woman that came second. That would be the gold standard to go by. How should women compete if this number keeps growing? It's only going to grow. More and more men are going to subscribe getting into women's sports. It's not going to go down, it's only going to grow. So women are going to have to take the back seat more and more. So it's interesting to see that a whole lot more women are taking a stand now. She probably could have fenced the guy. She probably could have. But what was the point in giving that legitimacy, the credibility to a guy who is in a women's only space? Why are Democrats never on the side of what is right? Why are Democrats never on the side of what the majority wants? So the voice of the women, what the women want themselves, it does not matter to Democrats. What the women are demanding for, that a woman has to take a knee in protest of not fighting a man. Shouldn't this be a wake-up call to everybody that we have gone too far with this woke BS? What is the end objective of this inclusion? What is the end objective of this particular agenda that the Democrat Party is pushing on women? Who benefits? Who comes up victorious? What is the goal? Is this a pro women agenda? Is this a pro trans agenda? Is this a pro Democrat Party agenda? Like, are Democrats coming off like, look, we're very advanced, we're progressive, we see men who identify as women, we're more likable, this is the future. How does this add value to anything when women have systematically taken a backseat? At what point are we going to have the Women's Soccer League, the WNBA, to be a league played by C graded men who couldn't cut up in the NBA? As soon as they start paying WNBA players more, as soon as they start making good money, how long do you think it would take before men start identifying as women and start clogging that space? If you start paying women in the WNBA right now, millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? They're making good, good money, good salary and endorsements. So millions and millions of dollars. How long would it take before men start declaring that, look, I'm a woman and I can play in the WNBA? How long? If they start playing female soccer players decent wage above what they're paying them right now, millions and millions of dollars. How long do you think it would take before men start dominating women in the female soccer space? When you open this door, do you think, Democrats, when you open this door to say it's okay for a man to participate in a woman's sports, all he has to do is claim to be a woman, and you let him go on to participate in a woman's sports? When you open that door, do you know what else will come through that door? Have you anticipated and planned to see what else will come through that door? Instead of going to China to play in the leagues, going to Russia, going to Europe to play in the league, if they start paying women a good amount of money, how many men would rather just stay home and say, hey, I'm a man, throw up a wig, take a couple of pills, and they're making millions, and maybe they're the franchise player of the league because they'll be really that good. But I never look at a problem without a solution. I never talk about problems without solutions. So this? Who remembers this video? This is a Sudanese woman who participated in a Chinese tournament for women. The lady here in the I think it's a hijab right here. There you go. Look at that one right there. That's the last one right there. So look at the athletes. Even this very bad one. Look at, and this is the best part. The best part is about to arrive. Right. We're watching this. It's the best part. She's coming in and she's gonna give this last hop. That hop right there. That's I love that little hop. let's 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 play that little hop again, right? Little skip. There you go. Look at her shoe. All right. So let's go back. Why did I play that video? Why did I play that particular video? In relation to what I'm talking about today. Don't follow the crowd, let the crowd follow you. Margaret Thatcher said that. And women should take a knee, women should oppose this. But why did I play that video? I played that video to point to the fact that it is very possible that we have an open category. So we have three categories: we have men, women, and open category. In the open category, we have athletes like this. She will be in the open category, correct? Will be in the open category. In the open category, we would have all the trans folks that want to compete: men, women, anything. Anybody that wants to compete in the open category, go and register and compete. You don't even have to be fit. You don't even have to be an athlete. You may have never trained a day in your life. That will be the open category. It's a non-gender strictly category. It's an open category. Men competing with women, women competing with men. You sign a waiver, you sign a release clause that you're willing to compete in this category. That should be the possibility, because at the end of the day, the argument here is that the trans athlete wants to compete, but that you're not a woman. When the law was being passed, Title IX, when it was being passed, it was not passed with trans women in mind. The problems women had fought for, they did not fight this fight for anybody but themselves. Women fought this fight to get a space for themselves. If trans people want to fight their own fight, they should fight the fight and create a space for themselves. See what women did, women fought that they needed to have representations for them. So you cannot call somebody a trans woman and then say that trans. See, the identifier in her womanhood is the trans. So they are a woman that is transing or transitioning or that has transitioned. So it is something that was there before and they have transitioned now to a woman. See, biological women don't transition. They're just women. They don't have that label before their own name. They are just women. And you cannot give people medications to make them become women. You cannot tell people that they are women to make them become women. You are just a woman. You were born that way. We can accept that you want to live your life like a transgender person. We can accept, we can play all these games. We can accept all of these situations. But do you have to compete with women to feel that you are actually a woman? Do you have to beat up other women to fulfill your value that you are a woman? When women are competing, when a woman competes with another woman, do you think in her head she's thinking, oh, I'm competing with another woman because I am a woman? No, they just compete. This is my category. This is where I belong. Bam, bam, they go for it. But see, for trans people, they are in the position to say, oh, I'm competing with another woman. They're accepting me because, look, and I'm a trans athlete, I'm a this. Why don't we move all of these people and put them in the open category? You don't even have to be trans to participate in the open category. You could be a man, you could be a woman, you could be trans, you could be non binary, you could be an alien, you could be whatever, a cat, a mouse, you could be whatever you want to be, and you're allowed to compete in the open category. Because some Democrats are cats, some Democrats are dogs, some Democrats are birds. Democrats can be anything they want to be. And now you have a category where you can wake up in the morning unfit as can possibly imagine. You could be obese, fat, and you decide, I want to compete in this tournament. And you go, pay the fees, register, and compete. If you win, you win. Why is a third category not an option? I would like for us to take a moment here for the fights that women have fought over the years for their sport, and we see back and we see it getting destroyed. Women are already not even supported in sports to begin with. Nobody's watching the WNBA as they need to watch them. Nobody's watching the women's soccer league. Women are not even getting the funding that they deserve. Women are not even getting the respect that they need to get as athletes in their own domain. Now they're having to fight internal battles with men. Imagine that. Let's take a moment to think about the women in our lives who are athletes, who are not catching a break, and who are seeing their spaces destroyed by men. Let's think about them in 5 seconds. Women, don't follow the crowd. Let the crowd follow you. Take a stand. Do not participate in this wokeness. It will destroy you. You did not fight for the inclusion of men in your spaces. It is your responsibility to stand against this destruction of your sports. It's been your host, Trez, for the Village Boy podcast.